Hello, and thank you for being a STAIR tutor this semester. We appreciate you for taking the time to watch this video and being our partner in creating a fun and meaningful learning experience for our students. Feel free to take a moment now to get out a pen, paper, and to locate your tutor guide from your tutoring box, as we will reference certain pages as we go along. Please don't hesitate to write down any questions that you have, and at the end of the last of our 3 onboarding videos, we will share our contact information and respond to your questions as quickly as possible. Here is the agenda for STAIR's tutor onboarding, which will be covered through 3 separate videos. We will share a brief history of the STAIR program with you, review your goals as a tutor and as a program. We will talk about the curriculum and the mandatory reporting we require of tutors. We will also discuss tips that will be helpful as you're tutoring as well as some tutoring policies and procedures. We will introduce Google Classroom so that you are familiar with the platform before your first session, and finally answer some frequently asked questions from previous tutors. While I will let you read most of the slide on your own, we do enjoy pointing out that we have been proudly serving local families for over 35 years by providing free one-on-one reading tutoring for lower elementary school students. STAIR started as a very small community-based volunteer program that only worked with 5 students. And now we have grown significantly to serve more students through our more than 25 school partnerships. In response to COVID, we've developed a new virtual program that has been equally successful as our in-person tutoring in regards to increasing student reading growth. But the great thing about this program is that it's also expanded our reach, as we can now tutor students who can't stay for after-school programming or attend programming on Saturday mornings. So just in case you're not too familiar with our program, STAIR stands for Start the Adventure in Reading, and we provide that free one-on-one tutoring for 2nd and 3rd grade students in effort to improve the reading ability and self-esteem of the students in our community. And STAIR works towards this goal by using a scripted curriculum that's designed to target critical reading skills such as phonics, vocabulary, comprehension, fluency, and of course, reading for joy. So while a student is in the STAIR program, they will receive 1 hour of one-on-one tutoring for 11 weeks. This is where your role as a tutor comes in. Tutoring extension activities, writing journals, and read aloud videos and related discussion topics or discussion questions. These are actually to be completed at home in between tutoring sessions. As a tutor, you can always encourage your parents to complete these activities. We always measure the reading growth of the students who complete these activities and compare it to the students who report that they do not. And the students who reported completing them at home with a sibling or parent actually do grow a bit more than the students who do not. And really, but even more so, the purpose of these is to help parents work with their child at home. And it also helps them facilitate discussions with their child about the work that they're doing while they're in the STAIR program. So as we tutor, we hope that you can help us meet our 4 program goals. First, we want to prioritize getting students excited about reading. Our STAIR students will have a wide range in ability, but all students have the ability to come to STAIR and enjoy tutoring and to like reading. They need you to help them open that door for them. We also ask that you work to reinforce key reading skills based on students' individual reading abilities, and this, of course, is done through our curriculum. This is why we test students and place them in different units, and the unit in which each student is placed is most closely matched to their current skill and helps reinforce the new skills that they need. We also work towards building the foundation for students to be confident lifelong readers, and keeping in mind that if students are excited and enjoy reading, this will come in time. And during your lessons, we ask that you emphasize the importance of reading. Take time during the session to discuss why reading is important. So overall, really what we're doing is we are making time for an hour of reading, learning something new, and starting a discussion with an adult that they might not otherwise get in their day. So STAIR's curriculum was written and reviewed by a team of elementary educators. The goal for designing the curriculum, or the goals for designing the curriculum, were to create content that is fun and engaging, relevant for both students and tutors, to keep a structured guide that could easily be implemented by volunteers regardless of their experience in education, to reinforce grade level skills through content that is appropriate for each child's reading level. The curriculum was developed to recognize that each child's learning needs are unique. The curriculum was designed to meet the academic needs of as many students as possible, including a review of core skills that most students need extra practice with. And we do ask that you remember your role as a tutor is to reinforce the concepts are learning in school, and that you're not acting as a teacher. We have created a program that will give the greatest benefit to the most students while working within the constraints of the limited time you get to spend with your student. We strive to provide students with a way to practice important grade level skills while using content that aligns with each student's individual level. So the materials that you will receive depend on the unit that your student was placed into based on the screening that we did during the student's enrollment. So every tutor will receive a tutor guide, and every student will have a student workbook for their assigned units, and then they'll have 11 books to read with their tutors. Here are some examples of some of the titles that you might see in your boxes. We are very excited about the selection of books that we have provided for our STAIR students and tutors. Our book selection has a diverse group of topics and characters, and it also includes nonfiction texts. The books are closely aligned with your students' reading level. However, we do ask you to keep in mind that not all students will be able to read these independently yet. And at the end of the program, students actually get to keep all their books and all their materials. So if a student is in the STAIR for 2 years, we actually end up contributing over 44 books to our students' home libraries. And we also ask that you keep in mind that while students do get to keep their materials, it is extremely important that tutors return their materials to be reused for the following semester. The boxes are a very expensive cost for us, and unreturned materials can actually affect our ability to enroll students, as the cost of replacing the boxes is very high. So please keep in mind, we ask that you do not write in any of the materials, and that includes the tutor guide. We have included Post-it notes in your boxes that we ask for you to take notes, whether you want to put some notes in a book on where to stop and ask questions, or you want to put some reminders from the lesson before. We do ask that you do that through the Post-its. Also, please try to keep the materials away from food and beverages, and we really thank you in advance for helping us keep these materials in great condition. Additionally, all boxes will have other materials that you'll need, like whiteboards, pencils, erasers, and then you'll also find materials that differ depending on the unit, such as sight word cards, Bob books, poetry books, and some other resources. Please spend some time before your first session looking through the materials so you are familiar with what is in your box. So STAIR has a total of 4 units. This way, if a child enrolls in the STAIR program at the beginning of 2nd grade, they could be a student for 4 semesters, which would be 2 school years. Of course, we're hoping to expand this in the future. Each unit has 11 lessons that follow a set schedule. So the first lesson is going to be your introduction lesson. It's the same for all tutoring except for the book. And then you'll have 10 tutoring sessions. Students completed a reading assessment at the time of their enrollment and were placed in the appropriate unit to match their needs. Students will also be tested during their last tutoring session to measure their progress, and we do like to let tutors know that STAIR will share this progress with you after all the students are tested at the end of the semester. it usually takes 2 to 3 weeks to get that information out. So we ask that you be patient, but we will share it. STAIR expects tutors to follow the curriculum as written. You will notice that it is very repetitive, not in topic, but in routine. So your students know what is happening and can more easily follow directions, which makes tutoring sessions a lot easier. And that each lesson is broken up into the following components. You'll have fluency, brain breaks, and reading and comprehension. We will discuss the lesson components more in depth, so you can follow along in your tutor guide under the curriculum overview section on page 3. So fluency means reading with appropriate speed, accuracy, and proper expression. This is an essential step for comprehension because students cannot comprehend a reading if most of their effort or mental energy is spent on decoding words, which means figuring out what the words are. In Unit 1 and 2, students will mostly work on letter sounds, sounding out words, and memorizing sight words. Students in Unit 3 and 4 will read poems and short stories to practice expression and rhythm. Brain breaks are scripted into your curriculum, and they are highly, highly recommended. Of course, sometimes your student just might not be into them, and that is okay. Respect that choice. But take a moment now to flip to your brain break section on page 113 in your tutor guide to see some recommended activities. Of course, if you have some activities that you think your student would really enjoy because you've done them in the past while working with children, please feel free to include them in your brain breaks. So brain breaks are 5-minute non-academic activities that give your student a break from the assigned lesson. Short brain breaks actually can help reduce stress, anxiety, and frustration. They can also help students focus and be more productive. The average time a second grader can focus is about 35 minutes, and sometimes that number can be generous. So it's important to offer a break. But most importantly, take your students' lead on that. If they want to do one, make sure you're doing it. If they have no interest, feel free to skip it. And then also feel free to add in more. Students have been in school for a long day, and sometimes they will need more than one brain break. Please take advantage of that and add them in as you see necessary. And next is really the meat of the lesson, the main part, if you will. You and your student will read a story together and work to understand the story. The section is actually going to be broken into smaller parts. So first we have the lesson introduction and purpose for reading. This really allows you to capture your student's interest with a brief summary of the work you will be doing. You also set a learning objective for your student, which helps them focus on the task for the lesson. And then you will then the next part is that you will activate knowledge and complete a word study. This really is where you introduce a topic, a learning point, or words that are necessary to help a student understand the story and lesson. So for example, if a story is about something in the ocean, you will have vocabulary words related to that. And a big tip that we provide tutors here is don't ask the student if they know what every single word means. It slows down the lesson a bit. Give them the word, discuss the definition, maybe use it in a sentence. It will be scripted what you should do, and then move on. Of course, if they know, take a moment, let them say it, but second and third graders do have trouble giving definitions to words. Then you're going to read the story or text. It is scripted in the curriculum who should do the reading. We do encourage you to follow the recommendation. Oftentimes, students will want to read it, even though they're just not at that level at this time. If that happens, tell them, oh, we can do a second reading when we're done. There's some different tips in the tutor guide to help you adjust for this. And then finally, you'll do a guided discussion or activity with your students. Students in Unit 1 and 2 mostly will accomplish their comprehension by discussing the book with their tutor or discussing some different concepts related to the story. And students in Unit 3 and 4 will mostly accomplish their comprehension by completing a writing activity. Then Most of the time, for the last activity with your student, you'll read from a digital library, spend about 5 minutes picking out a few titles, and then 10 to 15 minutes reading the story together. This is an important part of the lesson as well, as it promotes student choice. Students getting a say in what they read does help us reach our goal of getting students excited about reading and making them lifelong readers. And then finally, when your tutoring time has come to an end, you will close out your session with your student. And we do give a recommended formula for doing so because we always want to leave our students feeling positive about their tutoring sessions. So to end a lesson, we ask that you always give your student a compliment about something that he or she did well during the lesson. We really highly recommend praising effort rather than innate intelligence. We ask that you remind your student what they can do at home to practice reading and remind your student of your next tutoring session. For our last slide for this video, we have created a chart so you can better understand your students' abilities. Please keep in mind that every student is different, but this is the general ability of students in each unit. Take a moment to find in the table your student's unit and read to yourself. Feel free to pause the video for a moment if needed. So this video section has come to an end. Please take a moment to write down any last minute questions, and then feel free to start video 2, where we will review what a tutoring session will look and feel like.